Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Johnny Kazemka and this is the Ohio Valley Real Estate Report brought to you by Harvey, Goodman, Realtor. And today we are broadcasting live from our St. Clairsville, Ohio office studio. We are live on pretty much any social media platform from Facebook to Twitter, I guess, or you can now call it X. We are on YouTube and Twitch and anywhere that you could possibly find any form, TikTok, we're everywhere on social media. So if you are watching this, please do me a favor, give it a like and share. It helps me get our message out a little bit further. Also, feel free to comment in real time. Any comments or questions you may have, you'll see your name appear here below, and I'll do my best to address your questions in real time. So today, this podcast is all about how to navigate the current real estate market, the turbulent atmosphere, and all of the buzz about what's been happening. It has been a wild west of real estate in the last 24 months, the last 2 years. COVID has made a wonderful mess, and we still rebound from everything that's happened, from the call it the micro recession to teaching everybody that they can now work from home. It's been a crazy past couple of years. So what does this mean for you as a buyer? And what I always have said is that buying a home, or at least having a home, is somewhat as important of a human need as it is food and water. Right? You can have a full belly, you can have plenty to eat and drink, but if you are sleeping on the sidewalk in February, you are having a very rough life. Housing is a basic human need that rivals it. And when it comes down to buying in our market, I hear the same things over and over again about the market conditions, the interest rates. That's what everybody talks about. That's what everybody focuses on. And I'm here to tell you in this podcast right now, that is wrong. You should not be focusing on that exclusively. I'm not saying not to have a concern about interest rates, but we need to focus on something, we need to focus on the whole picture. That's just one part of the picture. Okay. So what does that mean for buying in the Ohio Valley? Well, out of all the turbulence that I just talked about, out of everything that everyone is panicked about, the water in the Ohio Valley, the real estate market here, is not turbulent. It is calm. I know everyone's going to freak out, and if anybody wants to, there's a chair right here. They can come in here and prove me wrong. But it's not as bad as everyone's making out to be. We're looking at it at a macroscopic level. Everyone's focusing on the news, and everyone's talking about impending real estate market crashes and this and that. Everybody do this with me. Ready? Take a deep breath and relax. I'm going to prove it to you. Are you ready? Here we go. The most affordable city. This U.S. city is the most affordable housing market in the world. Let me highlight that. The world. This was published as of April of 2022, just a little more than a year and a half ago. They're talking about Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Home buyers looking for affordability in today's tough housing market will find it in a rebounding Rust Belt city. Pittsburgh has been named the most affordable city in the world. Yes, the world, by the Urban Reform Institute and the Frontier Center for Public Policy. In a recent study from the two nonprofits, the Seal City edged out every other major metropolitan area globally. Two other U.S. cities, Oklahoma City and Rochester, New York, were tied for second. The study determined housing affordability for middle-income households by comparing home prices to household incomes in 92 cities in 8 different countries, and then ranked them from most to least affordable. So we'll get back to that in just a minute. But why is that important? Why am I talking about Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, when our market is the Ohio Valley? Well, we are an outlier of Pittsburgh. Okay, we are Wheeling in the Ohio Valley in general, arguably, is a byproduct of the Industrial Revolution, and you can argue that Pittsburgh was the most prominent city during the Industrial Revolution. The rivers, the steel that was coming from here, paved the way for that sort of innovation. So we are an outgrowth of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So if it's affordable to live there, it's certainly affordable to live here. So what about these interest rates? Why is everyone so focused on them? Well, if we can go back, let me check this slide. Here comes the sticker shock. Are you ready? If you were to finance today, on average, putting 20% down, conventional style mortgage, you can expect to finance anywhere between 8% all the way down to 7%, somewhere in between there, depending on if you're doing 30 or 15-year fixed. And that's a huge jump as to what it was maybe not even more than a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. Interest rates were down to 3%. I've even financed and seen deals close with interest rates in the 2s. Okay, so I get it. Yes, they are higher. They're double, and sometimes they are even triple of what they would have been for well-qualified buyers. Now, this is based off of credit scores between 700 to 750 or so, so just average credit score. They can go up or down depending on how much you're putting down. All these different circumstances are different. But what's happening now is buyers have put their sort of search on hold. Okay, that's one thing, because they don't want to inherit a higher interest rate. But that's not what's driving this bus. What's happening, if we go to a larger scale here, exit out of this real quick, sellers are the more important thing that drive the market. You would think that buyers buying in the market is what drives it. It's completely backwards, at least in real estate. Sellers are driving this bus. And most sellers don't want to sell their house right now because they don't want to have the interest rate that they have maybe at 3-4% and then have to inherit a higher interest rate. All the equity that they may have accrued over the last 5, 6, 7 years worth of ownership, they don't want to see it go down the drain to a higher interest rate. So there's been a bottleneck effect of what's happening in the Ohio Valley. So for example, if we just go and look at the median sales price in the Ohio Valley, and we're looking at St. Clairsville sort of, and you can see the outer areas from there. In St. Clairsville now, the median sales price, you have to start at $200,000 if you're just in the outgrowth of St. Clairsville, on average. This is I guess not the average, but the median level of it. If you were to go to a little bit westward towards Belmont, towards Bart Camp area, you can expect it to be at $300,000 as a median just to enter. So if you're a first-time buyer, for example, you're probably not focusing so much in these areas. $200,000, $300,000 usually are not first-time buyer ranges. So it's important to know not just what you're approved for, but where you're going to be buying, because these are the markets you're going to be competing in. And why I said before that the sellers are driving this bus, it's because when sellers, there's a lack of listings right now, a lack of inventory. What happens when there's a shortage? Prices go up. I mean, supply and demand. It's pretty plain and simple. So you as a buyer, you're thinking, man, it's a terrible time to buy. The interest rates are up, and you're waiting for the market to crash. You're waiting for it to go down. It's not going back down. There's no guarantee interest rates are going to go back down in and of itself. And if they do, there's no guarantee they're going to go back from whence they came, even if they drop down to 5 or 6%. By the time you sit here and wait for something that may or may not happen, this market is going to continue to climb and climb and climb. Now, there are people out there saying, okay, well, what about crashes? What about them? Real estate markets do tend to crash. They go up and down. Our market is stable. When I say the water is relatively calm, this is what I mean. If you were to go to Glendale, Arizona, if you were to go to coastal Carolina, if you go to the San Francisco Bay Area, you might see swings of real estate values in hundreds of thousands, if not upwards of $1 million of difference in valuation for property from year over year. Our market doesn't do that. All right, it's always 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Yeah, things do go up and down, but they don't swing so drastically. When we talk about real estate crashes, everyone talks about it as if it's the same thing across the board. It's not. Our market doesn't allow for that size of a transition between $100,000 in equity lost in 12 months. It just doesn't happen. Main cam. So what I mean by that is, yeah, the market might take a dip, okay, but it would be, even if it does, even if you bought today at 8% and the market does slowly start to regress and maybe you lost 20%, 10% in your current house's worth, over the next 10 years, it is going to rebound. It always has. Think about it back in the 2008 recession. Everything was difficult in the Ohio Valley. I'm not saying that people didn't have a hard time, but how many people went into dire consequence? How many people were losing their house? Actually, let me go back to this as a slide. One other factor. Number of homes in foreclosure. If it wants to load for me. I might have to readjust this. Here we go. Number of homes in foreclosure. You ready for this? Less than 25. Across the board. No one's going into foreclosure. No one is losing everyone's just sheltering in place financially. If you go back to 2008, you would think that, people that are losing all of their life savings and everything going out the window because of the financial hardships that people are finding themselves in, you would expect this graph to look a little bit different, right? Instead, all we're seeing, increase in sales price. We're seeing an increase because of the shortage that's being created. So why is it an ample opportunity to buy? Why does that sound so counterintuitive? It's mainly, go back to the main cam, because the market is still going to increase. And I've always said this: date the rate, marry the house. You can always refinance. It's lost on me how many times people forget about refinancing. Getting the house today at a higher interest rate and then refinancing if the interest rates go back down is a much more pragmatic thing to do for your financial future, especially if you need to buy. People oftentimes buy out of necessity. I call it the 3 Ds: the death, divorce, and diapers. So the three main ones that anybody at any time could be thrown into that whirlwind where they're forced to upsize, downsize, relocate, whatever that the reason may be. But I'm here to tell you, this is where my time to shine really exists. Anybody could have bought when the interest rates were 3%. Anybody could have navigated that. It was the easiest real estate market of all time. And a whole bunch of people jumped into the real estate world. Everyone got licensed and they thought it was all for the thrill. If you're looking to buy and your real estate agent is not having these conversations with you and showing you these kind of graphs, showing you where the median sales price is based off of the cities that you're looking for and what you need to do to compete, to be effective in those markets, you need to find a different agent. I'm telling you, there's a huge difference. Who you work with matters. It matters greatly. This is the single largest financial transaction in your life. I can't overstate that. So again, if you were thinking to buy or thinking of buying, 2 things to remember. 1, don't be scared of the current atmosphere, at least not in the Ohio Valley. It is the most low-risk place on the earth right now in the real estate market that you could possibly buy in. Basically, the worst thing that's going to happen to you is if you buy now, you're going to break even 10 years from now. It's not, you don't have to worry about the market crashes that everybody keeps talking about. And second, this is all solved. The easiest way to abandon rational thought is negative emotion. And if you're anxious, if you're frustrated, if you're scared, timid, I don't care what you are, if you have any reservation about buying, please call me. I'll walk you through all of your options, the best. And I'll tell you flat out if I think your best bet is to put something on hold. There's no pressure here whatsoever. My job is not in sales. My job is in consultation, and that's what I'm here for. So anyways, thank you for watching. Hope everybody out there has a great day. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.